Gentlemen, welcome back to MGTOW Money. Today's topic, this is against federal law, but before we get to that, thank you to the ongoing support from the Patreon investors in this channel. Welcome Arthur, the newest member of Patreon investors in this channel. Men, see the video description today. Become a Patreon investor in this channel. On today's topic, this is against federal law, but let me throw out two very clear disclaimers. Listen carefully. One, this is especially appropriate for young people. Do not break the law. Do not break any laws whatsoever. Follow the laws in your particular area. Second disclaimer, again, very important. Do not invest in anything. Do not invest in anything that you are not comfortable with. As I have said numerous times, if in doubt, stay out. This channel is simply an ideas channel to give you some things to research on your own time. On to today's topic. This is against federal law. Now, 2017 was, of course, the year of cryptocurrencies. Tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions were made by men across the world, as maybe some of you have done quite well last year. And of course, probably have not done quite as well in 2018. 2018, we have seen a new bull market. We've seen new multimillionaires and potentially billionaires that have been created investing in cannabis. And specifically, I'm not going to, because of YouTube guidelines, I'm not going to use another term for it, but let's just call it MJ or Mary Jane in this case. There are 9 states within the United States that now allow recreational use, personal use of Mary Jane. And furthermore, 44 states within the United States allow the medicinal use, in other words, the medical use of Mary Jane. So clearly the trend, men, is some sort of legalization. However, let me emphasize clearly, at the federal level, according to the United States government, not the state level, the federal level, it is still against the law. You cannot, for example, transport Mary Jane across state borders. If you do so and you are caught, you will go to jail. It is a federal crime. You probably don't want to do that, is my point. However, with that said, states are, of course, the trend is legalizing it more and more. If nothing else, they're decriminalizing it. And why are they doing this? Because it's a bonanza of tax dollars for them. And this trend, I expect, is going to continue. I'll just give you a quick example. In the state of Colorado, which was one of the first states to do so, last year, 2017, they collected nearly $250 million in tax revenue. In other words, this money just sort of fell out of the sky. Here are 3 specific investment recommendations for you to consider, for you to research on your own, that can make you money potentially in the cannabis industry. Before I get to that, I want to give you an example, though, of how volatile and how frightening and how up and down this market can be. Tilray, Tilray, which is a Canadian company. By the way, the symbol TLRY, IPO'd. In other words, they started publicly trading in mid-July of this year, 2018, at $17 a share. A few weeks ago, in mid-September, it was trading at $300 a share. So in other words, it had moved from 17 to 300 in, just a few months. In other words, it had moved over 1,700%. Today, here we are 2 weeks later, it's trading at 136. So in other words, the guy who bought a few weeks ago is now down by more than half on his money. So you understand already the risk that we're looking at. One company that you might want to do some research on, this is the closest thing that I could come up with as being any sort of solid blue chip company, is called Canopy Growth Corporation, symbol CGC. It's traded on the New York Stock Exchange. This is an $11 billion company as measured by the market capitalization of the company based upon today's trading price. Most importantly, in my opinion, recently, just a few months ago, Constellation Brands, which is one of the world's largest liquor manufacturers. In other words, for example, Corona Beer is one of their beers. Crown Royal is another one of their brands. They purchased 38% of CGC. Furthermore, they have the ability to potentially purchase over 50% if they choose to at their option at some point in the future. So needless to say, if this huge multi-billion-dollar company that's been around for years was willing to invest in them, at least it's something to consider. It is a vote of confidence. The second one is a REIT. Yes, this is a real estate investment trust that is also involved in the cannabis industry. As far as I know, this is the only REIT available in this industry. Symbol IIPR. It's Innovative Industrial. Specifically, this REIT is involved with providing warehousing and other types of light industrial space, etc., for cannabis growers, for distributors, etc. That is very much of a niche, unique industry because of, again, the gray area regarding the federal regulations today, etc. They really, again, as far as I can tell, based upon my research, there are no competitors. Furthermore, because they're a REIT, they pay a relatively high dividend, and today that dividend is over 3%. Specifically, it's 3.12%. In addition, they have preferred shares paying 8.2%. Yes, that's what I said, 8.2%. Again, do your own research. I'll discuss some of the risk in just a second on this. A third idea for you, which is relatively low risk, and I emphasize that is a relative statement. There is an exchange-traded fund. In other words, there is an ETF that you can buy just like you buy any other stock. It is the Alternative Harvest ETF, symbol MJ, not so coincidentally. It is a basket of 40 different stocks, and not so coincidentally, their biggest holding is Canopy Growth that I mentioned earlier. This is a way that you could, if you were looking to get into this particular market, do so in an easy way and in a diversified way. However, let me emphasize some of the risk here right off the bat before anyone says that I misled them. One, these stocks across the board, in particular earlier this year, the first half of this year, arguably were in a serious bubble. In other words, they were way overvalued relative to the marketplace, just like we arguably saw last year regarding the cryptocurrency markets. Furthermore, I'm going to include a link to an article that was done last month on yahoo.com, and this particular analyst in this article argues that over 90% of, quote, MJ stocks are, quote, frauds, quote, unquote. So you can look at the article, you can draw your own conclusions. I would advocate, if you do choose to put money into this area, that you only put money, as I've mentioned numerous times before, money you can afford to lose. In other words, money you were speculating with, money that you might take to the casino, or money that if you lose it all, it will not dramatically harm you. In other words, it just is not going to make that much difference to your life. The last risk that I should mention that could really tremendously change things here, if there is full legalization throughout the United States on Mary Jane, all bets are off regarding all these stocks. The enormous competition that could create for all these companies is incalculable. We don't know what could happen. So I would highly encourage you, again, consider the risk that we could be in a bubble. Furthermore, because we're in a bubble, these stocks could significantly decline from where they are today. And thirdly, there is the serious possibility, in my opinion, in particular, if there is a change with the United States Attorney General, who is in place now, if he should not be in place, there might be someone who is more open to the possibility to a full legalization of Mary Jane across the United States. And we don't know what's going to happen with all these stocks if that happens. Gentlemen, as always, I hope you found that useful. And most importantly, I hope you found that profitable. Hit the like button if you did. John Galt out.